Chapter 1. The Invocation. I bow down to Sri Ganesh, I bow down to Shri Saraswati, I bow down to the Guru, I bow down to the family Dinte, I bow down to Shri Sita Ramchandra, I bow down to Shri Sadguru Sai Nath. At the beginning of any undertaking, wise persons praise tutorial dignities and invoke their grace for its completion without impediments. They do the invocation to avert all impediments and for the fulfillment of their desires. I do obeisance to all. First of all, I worship Ganpati, Vakratunda, Hiranyab image, lord of the 14 schools of knowledge, auspicious figure who is elephant visaged. 14 universes are contained in your belly. That is why you are known as immense bodied, holding the lustrous axe in your hands with a desire to cut the difficulties of the devotees. O Lord Gananath, Gajanan, the destroyer of obstacles and assuager of pain, grant me the grace to complete my woes. I prostrate myself before you. You are the helper of the devotees. Impediments roll down and are subdued at your feet. If you directly face them, all deficiency will vanish. You are the ship in the ocean of life, the flame of light in the darkness of ignorance. Look after me joyfully with prosperity and perfection. Hail, hail to thee whose vehicle is a mouse, destroyer of the forest of impediments. You are the son of Girija, who has an auspicious visage. I do obeisance to you. May I attain the completion of this work without difficulties. Therefore, I have followed this custom of offering obeisance to the beloved deities with respect for the attainment of all good and auspiciousness. Sai himself is Gajanan Ganpati. Sai himself has the axe in his hand. Completely annihilate my difficulties. I now begin my scarred work. Sai himself is Balachandra. Himself is Gajanan. With a single tusk and elephant-like ears, he is the formidable one with a broken tusk, the destroyer of the forest of difficulties. O the holiest of holies, with an immense body, Ganpati, there is no difference between you and Sai. Please take me to your abode where you reside in contentment. Now I bow down to Saraswati, the daughter of Brahma, who inspires the intelligence. Make my intelligence thy swan and control it. She has the veena of Brahma in her hand and a vermeil mark on her forehead. She is clad in virginal white and her vehicle is the swan. Grant me your blessings. She is the dinty of speech and mother of the universe. Without her grace, no literary activity is possible. And without her blessings, I will not be able to write these card verses. This mother of the universe is the source of the Vedas. She is the splendor of knowledge and the excellence of the mind. May the nectar of the Sai Satcharitra be drunk by the people through me. Sai himself is a divine Saraswati, holding the Om chanting veena in his hands, and himself sings the story of his own life for the salvation of the devotees. Obeisance to Brahma, Vishnu, and Shankar, respectively representing creation, preservation, and destruction of the universe in epitome of Raja, Sattva, Tama. O Sainath, light incarnate for us, you are Ganesh, Lord of Savitri, Ramesh, and Umesh. You are the Sadguru for us. You are the ship to carry us across life's ocean. We, the devotees, are its passengers. Take us to thee on the shore. Without some good deeds of the past births, how could we have got such a place at your feet? My obeisance to family deity, Narayana, Adinatha, dweller of the milky ocean and remover of all sorrows. Parashuram reclaimed the ocean and created a new land which is called Konkan. There appeared Narayan. I am totally dependent on Narayan, the dweller of the all beings who controls all the living beings and protects them with his merciful glance for his inspiration. Similarly, I make obeisance with the uttermost respect to my original ancestors, a great sage of God region, who was brought by Bhargava for the completion of his sacrifice or yajna. Now I bow down to the king of the Rishis, Bhardwaj, who is the founder of my Gotra, belonging to the Rig Veda branch, Shakal being our ancestral name, Brahmin caste hailing from God. Further, I bow down to the Brahmin, the incarnation of the Supreme Brahma, and then to the Yajnavalkya Markaya, Brigru, Parashar, and Narad, the best of the yogis. Also obeisance to Vyas, the Vedas, fame Parashar, to Sanak Sanatan, Sanat Kumar Shuka, Shaunak, the composer of the sutra, to Vishwamitra and Vaishistha, and also to Valmiki, Vamdev, Jamni, Vaishapayan, and others. I prostrate myself at the feet of the 9 great yogis and munis. I now make my obeisance to the saints and the virtuous Nirvritti, Jnaneshwar, Muktabai, Sopan, Eknath, and his guru, Janardhan, Tukaram, Kahapatra, and Narahari. This book will not suffice if I name every saint. Therefore, I bow down to all of them and pray for their blessings. Now, I bow down to Sadashiv, my grandfather of lustrous pity, and who stayed for every at Badri Kedar, believing that this worldly life was useless. Next, I bow down to my father, who always worshipped Sadashiv, wore the Rudraksh necklace around his neck, and whose Ishtadevta was Shiva. Now I bow down to the one who gave me birth, that is mother, who cared for me and took pains day and night. How many of her obligations can I remember now? She left me when I was a child, and my parental aunt took the trouble to bring me up with great forbearance. I rest my forehead at her feet, who was all the time engrossed in the remembrance of Hari. I lay down my head I lay down my forehead at the feet of the eldest brother of the matchless brotherly affection, who would have laid down his own life for my sake. Now I bow down to the listeners and request their concentration. If they are inattentive, how will I get satisfaction? Whenever the listeners are intelligent and appreciative and are eager to listen to the narration, then by and by the narrator becomes more and more enthusiastic. If you are inattentive, then what is the purpose of this narration? Therefore, I prostrate myself and beg of you to listen with a joyful heart. I have no knowledge of the etymology, nor am I well versed in the scriptures. Neither have I heard various holy tales. You are fully aware of all this. I know my own shortcomings and I know my unworthiness. Yet, to fulfill my promise to the Guru, I am making these efforts to write the book. My conscience tells me I am like a blade of grass before you, but please accept me as your own by being merciful to me. Now I recall the Sadguru, bow down to his feet with love and surrender my body, speech, and mind to him who is the giver of wisdom and inspiration. This is when we sit for meals. The sweet dish is served at the end. In the same way, I make obeisance to the Guru as a sweet ending to my prostrations. Om. Obsessed to you, Guru Sadguru Raya, abode of rest for both the movable and the immovable. You, the dwelling place of the whole world, are the compassionate one. The earth, the 7 islands, 9 continents, the 7 heavens, and the nether world are all born out of the Hiranyagarbha, that itself is a famous Brahmand. The Sadguru dwells far beyond what is known as the Maya, which that Brahman creates here and which is invisible or illusory. The Vedas have been unable to describe his greatness and are therefore silent. The devices and niceties of the evidence fail. Whenever I use any metaphor to compare you, you have those very attributes. Whatever the eyes see is all that you have created yourself. Sri Sainath is such the compassionate and powerful Sadguru who can be known by the inner self. All transcendent, eternal one, to you I bow, obeisance to you, the best of all, ever blissful, fully content, self-effulgent, abode of auspiciousness, self-realized teacher of teachers. The Vedas and Shrutis remain silent in their effort to praise you. Whence can I have the intelligence to try and praise you or understand you? Hail, hail, Sadguru, treasure of mercy. Hail, hail, dweller on the banks of the river Godavari. Hail, hail, Brahma, Shankar, and Vishnu. Incarnation of Datta, I bow to you. Brahma's Brahman cannot exist without the Sadguru. I offer my 5 pranas to you and with total dedication surrender to you for protection. I bow my head in obeisance, press his feet with my hands, gaze at his face and inhale the scarred water which washes his feet. Keep listening to the praises of Sai, enshrine his image in the mind and instantly meditate on Sai. This will break your bonds with worldly life. Offer body, mind, and wealth completely at the feet of the Sadguru. Spend the entire life serving the Guru, the name of the Guru and the intimate association with the Guru, the grace of the Guru and the milk like scald water which has washed his feet, the scald mantra from the Guru and residence in his household, these could be obtained with great efforts. The tremendous power in him after he has tested the devotee will take his devotee to the threshold of moksha without him being conscious of it. The association with the Guru is like the scarred Ganga's water which cleanses and makes one pure. It also stabilizes the mind on God, which otherwise is fickle. Our Vedas, Shastras, and Puranas, the service to the Guru. Our yoga, sacrifice, and penancy takes us towards the feet of the Guru and our means of deliverance. Our Vedas and Shastras are none else than the purest name of Shri Satguru. Our mantra is Sai Samartha, that is also a mystical contrivance and mystical worship. That Brahma is real is experienced every day. That the world is an illusion is a daily awareness. Sai grants this state of heavenly bliss to his devotees. The joy of the Supreme Soul and its realization, the condition of identity with the Brahmand, all that is tangled verbiage. What is required is condition of permanent bliss. Whosoever has embedded this state of mind and continues to remain in the same condition and has peace and contentment, that state itself is self-realization. Sai is the mind of blissfulness. A fortunate devotee has no dread of the supreme bliss. Such a devotee is fulfilled like the ocean. Shiva and Shakti, Purusha and Prakriti, the vital airs in their motion, the lamp and its luster, to perceive duality in there is to distort the nature of the pure Brahma. They are the same. The Vedic saying is Brahma does not delight in being alone and desires to be manifold. Thus is born duality and is again joined in unity. In the state of pure Brahma, there is neither the Supreme Soul nor nature. Where the sun abides, how can there be day and night? The real being is beyond and without any attributes, but for the sake of his devotees, he assumes a form. That is Sai, the pure. I completely surrender to him. For those who surrender to Sai Samartha, he has avoided many calamities of theirs. Therefore, for my own selfish purpose, I bow at his feet. From the point of view of reality, he is absolutely different. To give the pleasure of devotion, he takes different forms and performs the leelas for his devotees. To him, the lovable one, I bow down. He holds the cosmic consciousness in all beings and who is the seat of self-awareness and has assumed the form of gross consciousness. To him, the lovable one, I bow down. You are my last resort. You are my refugee. You fulfill the devotion of the devotee. O Guru Raya, you are bliss incarnate. Now at the end of my obeisance, I bow down to all beings as God is present in all beings, except me in your fold. Obeisance to living beings, all living beings, so that the Lord of the universe may be pleased. God is all-pervading, integrated, and without distinction. Thus I end all my obeisances, which will become the means to complete what I have begun. They are the auspicious beginnings of this book. Now I will narrate the purpose of this opus. Since the time when Sai has graced me and favored me, I think of him only day and night. He's destroyed my fear of worldly existence, the fear of the cycle of birth and death. Not for me the repetition of any other prayers, not for me any other penancy. I behold only one form, the pure form of Sai. As soon as one gazes upon Sai's face, thirst and hunger are forgotten. What is the value of other pleasures? One forgets the worldly sorrows. As one looks at Baba's eyes, one forgets oneself. Waves of love swell from within, and the whole world is drawn in the raptures of devotion. Action, religion, scriptures, Puranas, yoga, sacrifices, performance of prescribed religious ceremonies, pilgrimage to holy places, and act of penancy, all these are at Sai's feet for me. Continuous observance, the teachings of the Guru, and firm adherence to them brings unshakable faith and unwavering stability. It is due to the outcome of my past deeds that my attachment to Sai has increased, and I began to experience his invincible power. How can I adequately describe it? That power which creates devotion and attachment to Sai's feet also leads to a detachment while participating in worldly life and gives great bliss. Different ways of devotion have been described by various people. I will speak briefly of its nature and characteristics during the course of the narration according to my aptitude. To realize the harmonious connection with the inner self is the foremost form of devotion, say those who are learnt in the Vedas and the Shastras and the knowledgeable spiritual guides. Puja and Archana for the love of God are the ways to express devotion, as preached by Parashar and Vyas. There is also another form of worship. For the sake of the Guru, collect flowers such as Parijat and others from the garden, sweep the courtyard of the Guru's abode, and sprinkle water and smear it with the wash of cow dung. At the outset, bathe and chant the morning mantras, make fragrant paste and anoint the Gurudev with sandalwood, bathe him with the five nectaral substances milk, honey, ghee, curd, and sugar. Burn incense and light the lamp. Afterwards, offer Naivedya, then do the arti with the lamp and the essence. In this way, doing all the service with love is called archana, worship. Begin the worship by making your heart and intelligence pure and sinless, having an unsullied disposition, and invoke the power of the divinity within you. Then recall that divine feeling after the archana is concluded, and in your heart resort the former state and establish it firmly within you. Now, there are other modes of devotion. In the opinion of Garacharya, when the mind is completely absorbed singing the praises of God, it becomes one with Him, a mode of worship. Continuously being aware of one's real self, relating religious tales and songs have disciplined behavior is another form of bhakti as described by Sandhilya. Those who know what is good for themselves follow the Vedas and act as prescribed by them. Avoid prohibited and improper conduct and all things which are obstacles for one's own good. I am not the doer of any action nor the enjoyer of its fruits. When I feel this is an action which is devoid of ego and is a surrender to the Supreme Being for union with it. Perform all your actions in this way. Then naturally a stage is reached when you become a non-doer. Though it is not possible ever to disown the karma, yet it is possible to disown the fruit of the karma. Remove a thorn with the help of a thorn. To become a non-doer, you have to act according to the karmas. When realization takes place, then only the karma will end. Completely stopping the desire for the fruits of action is the best way for foregoing the desires. Perform your daily routines and special prescribed duties. This is called the law of conduct. Offer all your actions to God and be sorry for missing the remembrance of God for even a moment. This is Nadya Bhakti, which is different from other ways of devotion. There are many such ways of devotion, each more extraordinary than the other. We will cross the ocean of life untouched by its waters merely by remembering the deeds of the Guru. I developed a passion for listening to the stories of the Guru and was captivated by them. I felt that I too should write about him from my experiences. Once later on, when I was at Shirdi and I had gone to the masjid for his darshan, I saw Baba grinding wheat, which surprised me greatly. At first, I will tell you that story. Listen to it with a quiet mind. From that instance was born the whole idea of this Satcharitra. The best sloks are those which speak of God's glory. A narration of the good works of Sai conversing about his all-embracing love will purify the mind and the intellect will be clear. All threefold afflictions will be averted if you listen to his life and leelas, and you will have satisfaction. Those who are distressed by the threefold afflictions and those who are inclined towards the attainment of salvation seek refuge at his feet with pleasure and are then enriched by spiritual experiences. Now give me your attention. Listen to the charming account by which you will be greatly surprised to hear about the kindness of Baba. You know, one morning after Baba cleansed his teeth and washed his face, he began preparation for grinding. He took in his hands a scuttle basket, went near the sack full of wheat where it was stored, and heaped one measure after another of the wheat into the basket. He then spread out a spare sack, placed the grinding stone on it, hammer the peg firmly into it so that it may not come off while grinding. After rolling up his sleeves and gathering up the loose folds of his kafni, he sat down near the grinding stone and spread out his legs. I was greatly surprised and questioned the purpose of this grinding by one who had no possessions nor any wherewithals. Why should he think of doing this? May that be whatsoever. Holding the peg in his hand with his head bent down, Baba with his own hands started turning the grinding stone and unhesitatingly turned out the flour as if crushing the inimical forces. Many a saint I have seen, but none who was a grinder. He alone knew the pleasure and novelty derived from grinding wheat. The onlookers were filled with awe, but nobody dared to ask him what he was doing. No sooner than the fuse no sooner than the news spread in the village that men and women actually came running. All the women who came running were tired. Four of them climbed the steps of the masjid hurriedly and possibly took away the peg from Baba's hands. Baba became furious with them, but they started grinding the wheat at once, and while grinding, sung songs praising him and his leelas. Seeing the love of the woman, his pretended anger cooled down. Anger turned into love, and Baba started smiling. 4 shares of wheat were ground, and the basket was empty. Then the fancies of the woman began to dance uncontrollably. Baba does not make chapatis. He goes about as a mendicant. What will he do with the wheat flour? The woman conjectured. Baba has neither wife nor child. Baba is all alone. He has no household or family. Why so much flour? One of them said, Baba is exceedingly kind. This Leela is only for our love's sake. Right now he will distribute this flour entirely to all of us. Now he will divide it into 4 parts, one for each of us. All of them were building such castles in the air. Baba thought he alone knows. No one can gauge the extent of it, but the woman's greed to loot Baba arose. The flour was spread out and the wheat was used up. The grinding stone was placed against the wall. The flour was filled into the scuttle basket by the woman with intent to carry it to their respective homes. Till then Baba did not utter a single word. When the 4 of them divided the flour into 4 parts, then folks listened to what he said. You are mad with greed. What are you taking and where? Do you think it belongs to your father? Now go to the boundary of the village and throw away the flour there. You good for nothings have come running to loot me. Did you give the wheat on loan that you want to take away the flour? The woman mourned and fretted amongst themselves, and quite a lot felt disgraced because of their greed, began to whisper amongst themselves, and hurried immediately to the village boundary. Nobody can guess the motives of Baba, because at the start no one knows what is to follow. But with patience the result is known. Baba's marvels are distinctive. Later on I asked the people why Baba had acted thus, and they said that this is the manner in which he had averted the spread of the disease. It was not the wheat, but it was the cholera that he had ground out in the grinding stone, and afterwards that was thrown out at the village boundary by handsful. The flour was thrown on the banks of the stream. Since that time the disease receded. Promptly the bad days passed away. This was the expertise of Baba. The village was affected by the epidemics of cholera, for which Sainath had found this remedy. The disease was totally eradicated and peace was resorted in the village. Seeing this spectacle of grinding, I was taken aback. How can the cause and effect be related? How can the proof be found? What could be the connection between wheat and disease? Having seen this inconceivable incident, I thought of writing this book. Like the waves of the sea, love upsprung within me, and I felt like singing the sweet tale of Baba to my heart's content. Hemat surrenders to Sainath. The auspicious invocation ends here with obeisance to relations, friends and saints, obeisance forever to the Sadguru. In the next chapter, I will speak about the purpose of the book and give an insight into the capacity and the commitment to the best of my ability. The listener should listen to it with concentration. Likewise, the listeners and the writer will be benefited by this. Shri Sai Satcharitra, who is this writer, Hemada Pant, will become clear later on. May there be well-being. This is the end of the first chapter named The Invocation. of the Shri Sai Satcharitra, Shri Sai Samartha Satcharitra, composed by the devotees Hemadpant, implied by the saint and the virtuous people. This is offered to Shri Sadguru Sainath. May there be auspiciousness.